Democrats Abroad Canada, the Toronto chapter. We're going to have a fairly short 9/11 anniversary ceremony here. We'll have a few speakers, and the Honorable Bob Rae will join us at the end. So please stick around. I will be turning 40 at the end of this month, and people keep telling me that 40 is the new 30. I want to believe that, but turning back the clock 10 years is something most of us can't imagine doing, as much as we may like to. It may be human nature to want to undo our mistakes and failures. That is a fool's errand, I believe. A smart man once said, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. And the last decade has taught us a lot about gaining experience from failures and mistakes. We have also learned to sacrifice some of the things we took for granted. We've had to adjust to a different way of doing things, such as waiting in longer lines at the airport to allow for much deeper security screening. We have lost some of our privacy because it is now more important than ever to understand where money and information flows. Most importantly, many in our armed forces and their families have learned that the freedom that we treasure so much does not come without sacrifice, unfortunately. Over 5 million Americans live and work abroad, some temporarily or for school, and we connect deeply with anniversaries like 9/11. Americans living abroad feel those changes keenly because we don't live and work on U.S. soil and in U.S. culture. On 9/11, Americans suddenly realized that not everybody loves them. There are people that hate what America stands for, and America now finds itself looking for a new role in a globalized, complex world. America has exported democracy for at least 50 years to the rest of the world, and now Americans have a chance to witness democracy start to flourish in many parts that have not seen democracy before. This comes from the ashes of 9/11 and is unprecedented. The attacks were intended to break our spirit. Instead, we have emerged stronger and more united than ever. We are more determined than ever to live in freedom, and it is imperative that we strive for this ideal. I don't think I'm mistaken when I say that 9/11 and many terrorist attacks before and after 9/11 touched each and every single person around the world in some way. As recently elected chair of Democrats Abroad Canada Toronto chapter, I want to thank you for coming here today and take the time to remember not only those who perished on that sunny morning, but also all their families, firefighters and policemen and freedom fighters everywhere who keep us safe and sound. They live on amongst us and persevere, gaining experience and wisdom each and every day. We must remember that while the attacks occurred on U.S. soil, people from all around the world, including Canadians living or visiting New York City, lost their lives on that day. On this anniversary, we honor the memory of all those lost, along with their families and survivors. And we also remember the friendship and solidarity extended to Americans by the world's community, including Canada, a place many Americans now call home. I would like to take just about 30 or 40 seconds to please observe a moment of silence for 9/11. Thank you. In the spirit of bipartisanship, we've invited Mark Feigenbaum, the chair of Republicans Abroad Canada, to please join us and share a few words with us today.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me speak. This is a day where we come together without regard to political leanings or our country of nationality. We come as individuals to reflect on the events that 10 years ago touched all of us in some way. We have come together over the years to collectively realize that our lives can change direction without notice by actions not only under our control, but now we unfortunately learn that they can change by the actions of others who don't otherwise know us but are intent on changing our lives in a most malicious way. Everyone has a story of where they were at the moment, who they knew affected by these events, and how at that moment we collectively felt sympathy for others and valued our own time even more. On a personal note, my wife and myself and my 6-month-old daughter flew out of Newark Airport just a few hours before the events that day. I often reflect as I see her grow how just a few hours could have changed our path. We remember today those whose lives and their families' lives were irrevocably changed. And I thank everyone from the bottom of my heart who helped on that day, the volunteers and the service people and all the people overseas who fight for our freedoms every day. Thank you.
He's going to speak.
He's going to speak. Okay, we're going to introduce Elena Leonard, who's the Democrats Abroad Canada chair of the whole country. Elena, please, can you share a few words with us?
Thank you. First, this is a time when our hearts go out to the people who lost loved ones, to the first responders, especially to those first responders who have been suffering continuing ill effects as a result of their work and sacrifice, and also to the volunteers in Canda and other places around the world, and those who came down from Ontario and other places to help out in the aftermath of 9/11. I've been asked to speak a little bit about the future. We need to be very, very diligent in watching out for where things are going to be happening that might affect us and might cause us a problem in the future. In the first place, we need to keep track of technology. Terrorists and other criminals are watching their technology. We need to keep up with our technology as well, so that we're able to find things that happen before things that are about to happen before they actually bear fruit. In that regard, we're hoping that Congress quickly passes the expansion of the broadband width to allow for more use of communications technology among first responders, so that fire and police and other emergency personnel can all be on the same part of the spectrum and can all communicate with each other. We're also very mindful of the need to continue monitoring the balance between security and privacy, because we value our security, but we also value our privacy and our ability to live as free citizens in a democratic society. And finally, we need to be watching what is happening in the world. We need to exercise soft power and diplomacy, as well as stamping out plots wherever we find them. And in that regard, we need to help by supporting the increase in civil society and civil society institutions that have been highlighted by the Arab Spring and citizens' movements in other parts of the world. Because where democracy flourishes, terrorism has a much more difficult time taking root. And I thank you all for coming and for participating in this memorial.
Thank you, Elena. Finally, we are honored to have the Honorable Bob Rae with us here today. His booth is literally right across the stage here, which is great. And we'd like to invite Bob, please take the stage and share.
Thank you very much. I think we all recognize that the world changed in very dramatic ways 10 years ago. We were all shocked, horrified, mesmerized by what took place, and I think it's taken us all a long time to really understand and appreciate the enormity of those terrible events. Canadians reached out to our friends and neighbors in the United States after that terrible calamity at 9/11. There were many examples of solidarity and hospitality and friendliness being shown, and as we all struggled and tried to do everything we could to respond in a way that would provide some comfort and some help, some hope to all those people who were affected by the terrible attack. And we continue to do that. Our American friends are truly our friends, and we deeply appreciate the friendship of the United States. We're very lucky to have you as our southern neighbors, and I think you're very lucky to have us as your neighbors to the north. We face a common challenge in the world. We don't want to see our border become a place where it's hard for us to go back and forth and visit and trade and see each other on a regular basis. We don't want to see us become so afraid of the world that we're not prepared to treat and deal with each other in an open and candid and very direct way. But today is a day, I think, where we remember what happened, where we pay tribute to those who lost their lives, more than 3,000 people who died, and where we remember at the same time that this is but one of a number of terrible tragedies that have occurred as a result of those people who would attack civilians for the purpose of causing fear and disruption in the name of a political or religious ideology. And when we look at recent bombings in Pakistan and Afghanistan, when we consider in Canada's case the Air India bombing, which killed over 300 people, proportionately the same number who died on 9/11, when we think of those who've been killed in so many other examples, where terror has become the way, the method, the choice, the method of choice for carrying out a political campaign. And I think it's very important that we all join hands and hearts and, yes, use the most effective means to combat terrorism and to deal with the causes of it, and to understand that this really is the struggle of our time and of our lives, both at home and abroad. It's important for us to maintain our own values, our own sense of hope, our own sense of optimism, our own sense of what the world can be at its best, as opposed to what it sometimes is at its worst. So we have work to do in Canada and in the United States to make sure that we continue to not only remain vigilant, but that we remain effective and caring, and that we understand what needs to be done in order to address this tremendous challenge of our time. And perhaps in this day, as we see people going about their business in an ordinary way, it's important for us as Canadians to reflect on how lucky we remain, how lucky we are to have the life that we do, but how much work we have to do to maintain this life and to maintain the quality of life that we are able to take advantage of. And so I congratulate our friends in the Republicans and the Democrats.
Thank you, folks. That's it. It's just a small little ceremony, not a lot of pomp and circumstance.